This is the 2004 Acura TL timing belt. Step one, well, maybe not step one in the procedure, but the one thing you want to make sure you can do is to break your crank pulley bolt loose, which is a very difficult thing to do. I tried gunning it with my air gun, and my gun isn't the most powerful gun, but it is a relatively respectable Ingersoll Rand, but it would not budge this bolt. So I'll show you the procedure I used. I know some people use the bumping the starter method. I suppose as a last resort you can do that. I really didn't want to have my motor mounts subjected to that kind of strain and anything else on the engine that gets strained when you do that. So I tried this method and I was very fortunate with it. So what I did was, this tool here is available to rent at O'Reilly Auto Parts for free. You leave a $50 deposit, and as long as you return it within 48 hours, you will get the entire $50 back. If you tell them the Honda timing belt or Honda crank pulley tool, they'll know what you're talking about, or you can go on their website, and if you want the exact name of it, go ahead and look it up. It's a 50 millimeter, and it holds in place. It holds your crank pulley in place so you can turn the bolt without turning the engine. This blue tape here, when I secured it, since I was doing this myself, I put it in there, and the tape is just to kind of hold it in place. And then what I did was, I only had one breaker bar. Ideally you would have two. I wedged a large socket into it and braced it. So the tool goes into your crank pulley. You hook up your 1/2 inch either breaker bar or socket. You squeeze it in between there, between your oil filter and the frame, and you brace it against the ground. Make sure it's absolutely solid against the ground. I have a 19 millimeter impact socket, a 20-inch extension, and ideally this would have been an impact extension, but I couldn't get a hold of one to do this project, so this is a regular Craftsman 20-inch extension, which I was very worried was going to shatter when doing this, but it was able to break it loose. Propped it up on a jack stand, put a towel over the body of the car, went ahead and hooked it up to my breaker bar, and then used this right here, which is a 5-foot steel pipe. Aluminum will bend. You'll want a steel one, pretty thick gauge. So I put it here, and then what I did was I put this over in this region here in case anything did shatter when doing it, and then just reached up and was able to pull it down using my weight. There was a lot of flexing going on down there, so I was really surprised that the 20-inch extension didn't shatter, but it held up, and as you can see right now the bolt is free, so I was able to break this loose. I did spray it a couple times with WD-40, once a week ago when I was trying it with the impact gun, and today about half an hour before I tried. And another thing, make sure your car is propped up on a jack stand when doing this. You are exerting a lot of force pulling on this, so really make sure everything is solid, tight. Make sure there's nothing underneath. Right now this car is up on the jack stand and also the floor jack. They're both supporting the vehicle, so if one fails I have the other one there. And right now my bolt is free. So if I had an assistant to film, I wish I could have filmed the actual breaking loose, because when it gave way, it really cracked. So this is the 2004 Acura TL, and this is the 3.2 liter. This is not the 3.5 liter engine. Timing belt, crank pulley bolt loosening.